Okay, for this session we're going to help you remember how to determine the slope of a line. For the most part, the slope of the line is determined by taking a vertical change on the graph and dividing it by a horizontal change. We could do it the other way, but it's pretty much a standard that most people will always do the vertical on the top and the horizontal on the bottom, and when you refer to that as the slope, it describes how steep or shallow this particular best fit line is and gives you a number value to describe that steepness. In order to get a change on the graph, you need to pick 2 points that are on the line. If, for some reason, your data points are not on the line, you just ignore the data points. So if I had a data point right here and a data point right here, I would not use those data points for the slope. I would simply pick 2 places on the line, and I would choose places for convenience sake. I can follow 5 up to this point, and I can just go over a nice number, 5 more, and choose a different point here. And why I did that will become obvious in a minute. Once I select these points that I'm determining the slope between, it's advantageous to draw a right triangle between those 2 points to help you kind of visualize the horizontal change and the vertical change on the graph. To get the horizontal change, I want to start with my final number. In this case, that is 10 apples. Excuse me, that's 10 kilograms. And I want to subtract my initial number from it, which was 5 kilograms. And the difference of those 2 numbers is 5 kilograms for my horizontal change. I'm showing my work here because that makes my work easier for other people to evaluate, and it allows me to very quickly check my work if I have a value that is different than other people's. So taking the time to do this is well worth it, because more often than not, we're not concerned with just doing our own work. We're concerned with sharing that work with other people. We're going to follow a similar process for the vertical change. I'm going to look at my first point and follow that over to the number value on that side of the graph. And I have somewhere around 45. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, and it appears as though I'm somewhere around 90. So again, I'm going to start with my final point and write that number first, $90, minus my initial point, which is $45. And I'm going to get $45 for that difference. Now what I'm going to do is take that vertical change that I figured, $45, and divide it by 5 kilograms. And that will give me the value of $9 on the top over 1 kilogram on the bottom. That can also be written as just $9 per kilogram. for the most part, the reason why we divide these out is so that the bottom number is 1. When everybody's bottom number is 1, it makes everyone's work easy to compare. It also, the other thing that we need to be aware of is that keeping the labels with these numbers helps us interpret what the slope means in the end. By having dollars on the top and 1 kilogram on the bottom, we get the interpretation that it costs $9 for every 1 kilogram of apples that we would purchase. That is the general process for which you will calculate the slope of a line.